Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Walmart in Plano, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting that like button, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. It is a beautiful afternoon in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at. And for my plant foldies, for those that are new to my channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. I am going to just see what plants they have at this Walmart. So the last couple of Walmarts I visited, they had a very sparse selection of what plants they had available. So we're going to see what we're going to find. This is the last week of July, heading into the first day of August. So we're going to see if they have any more plants or if they're starting to downsize their house plants and just outdoor garden section. But let's go see what they have available over here. I did see that they were clearancing out a lot of their planters. So let's take a look at some of their planters, and that is true. It looks like they got some planters here for sale. This one is only for $6.50. And then what else do we have over here? This one is for $2.50. So it looks like they've got their planters either for 30 or 50% off, which is super exciting because I actually like the Better Homes and Gardens planter series that they had this year. I think that they had a very nice modern contemporary vibe. Like these wall planters right here for $9.50. I may end up getting one of these. It doesn't look like it's been moving, but that would be a nice way to put some plants on a vertical space. And then you can see right over here, we've got some more planters for $3. So if you are able to get some of these clearance planters, I would recommend it because Walmart is liquidating a lot of their seasonal planters. Like I like this right here. This is a beautiful blue planter. I like the shape of it, and I've said this in a lot of my previous videos, but I prefer modern contemporary, very minimalistic type planters. I like matte finishes. I prefer that versus like the shiny glazes. I prefer smooth surfaces versus having a lot of texture. But that's just really my plant aesthetic. So plant foldies, for those that are watching my channel, please let me know what your plant aesthetic is. Again, I love all of the comments that are put in the comments section. It really does help with the video's engagement, and I do reply to all of them. But we're going to see what plants they have here. I'm going to probably walk into the outdoor section first before we head into the indoor tropical plants. But as you can see here, it looks like they still have their lawn and patio area. They've really put a lot of their things out here, the bulky items, like they've got some grills. It doesn't make sense to have some luggage there, but you know what? If you want to just place it somewhere, I suppose that's the merchandising that they want to do for the moment. But you can see here, we've got some Costa Farms plants as well as some garden expert plants, which are basically sourced out from Costa Farms. You can see right here, Epipremnum aureum, golden pothos. This one is for $10.97 in a hanging basket. And I say this in every single video. If you don't have a pothos plant, I would recommend adding it to your collection because pothos plants are super easy to take care of. They're not as fussy as a lot of plants. They're easy to propagate. And then also look at this beautiful syngonium right here. Now this is for, I believe, $5.48. This is a really nice looking Costa Farms exotic angel plant. Now this specific plant doesn't have a plant ID. Now syngoniums have always been a favorite of mine. They used to be my #1 favorite plant, but I've realized that with syngoniums, they are slightly fussy when you don't give them the lighting conditions they need, and you definitely don't want them to dry out completely. They do not do well with drought. And then we also have right here a philodendron ring of fire. This is by Grower's Bench, which is basically the nursery of wild interiors. They typically source out to a lot of grocery stores, but this year they have really had a lot of like fancy philodendron and alocasia available. That one was for $17.47. This one right here is a Ficus lyrata in a self-watering planter, $14.97. And you know, with Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf, these can get massive. You just really want to give it a lot of light if you're going to give it, if you're going to grow it indoors. And then over here, we've got a Dracaena of some sort, maybe a Dracaena lemon lime. You know, Dracaenas, this one is for only $9.97. And with what I would say is with Dracaenas, super easy plants, one of the easiest plants you can take into your home. It actually thrives in neglect. It doesn't want to be overwatered, and it can tolerate lower light conditions. Same thing with this Dracaena. This is a Dracaena Janet Craig compacta. Beautiful plant. It does have a compact way of growing, and I love just how it's just a green Dracaena. It is a slower growing plant, but needless to say, it's also an easy care plant. We also have a Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, and what I would say, plant foldies, is I am on a pothos hype just because I wanted to go back to the basics. So you guys know that I went to the Philippines for vacation. That is originally where my family is from. And I just realized that going to the basics of just finding plants that can thrive in a natural environment is what you really need to be doing in an indoor space. So pothos plants, very minimal care, and that's the reason why I'm probably going to add more pothos into my collection. I'm still trying to get my house in order. I feel like I've been talking about that for the last 4 months, but again, you know, just a little bit about me. I do have a very demanding job. I am, you know, required to work about 10 hours a day. And then when you think about mixing YouTube and then just my personal life, there's just a lot going on. And so I have decided I'm going to be getting more easy care plants, because then I don't have to put so much time to invest in like the plant care, if that makes any sense. But as you can see, all of the plants I picked up so far are you know, easy care plants, are plants that I would recommend, are plants that I think even the seasoned houseplant collector should add to your collection, you know. But you can see here, this Walmart actually doesn't have a bad selection of outdoor plants. I feel like there's still quite a bit of plants to choose from. I was told that especially in big box stores, around this time is when they start to liquidate or downsize their plants so they can get ready for the holiday season. You know, when you think about it, 3 months from now, it's going to be Halloween, then we have Thanksgiving, and then we have the Christmas, and then it's next year. So I could see that happening, but it's still nice to see that they have hanging baskets of like Hoya Wyetii. That one is for $19.84. And then we also have another Hoya Wyetii right over here. It has been extremely fun to be able to make big box store plant shopping videos this year. And I still want to thank everybody who continue to invest their time nightly with me to chat on the live premiere chats. We have been growing our community at GrowFolds. The plant foldies are really just starting to increase, and that's because you guys give me that watch time. You know, watching my videos completely, hitting the like button, leaving many comments for me to engage. Those are ways to really push out these videos. And I've noticed, especially with my big box store plant shopping videos, those typically get a lot more traction. I don't regret posting videos about my home country, the Philippines, because I do feel like while it's not a big box store plant shopping video, which is basically the niche that this channel is on, I am just so proud that I was able to show you the beauty of the Philippines, as well as showing all of the plant foldies, where our houseplants really come from, you know, the natural environment, the climate, the maturity level of these plants, the maximum potential of those plants. So if you haven't already plant foldies, or for those that are just watching this video for the first time, please check out the Philippines plant videos. It's under my plant tourism playlist, and I'll have a separate playlist for that. But you can see as I pick up all of these plants, Walmart does have quite a bit of like succulents. That one was a Calloway. This is one of my favorite ones for $4.97. This is a Crassula lemon and lime. I love that variegation, and this variegation is really influenced by the amount of light it is provided. You know, there are different types of plants that have variegation that's influenced, whether it is genetically influenced, like a philodendron, Pink Princess, that's what I was trying to, Pink Princess, as well as a Monstera albo. So it doesn't really matter the amount of light you provided. Obviously, it does help with the overall plant health, but those are not really influenced by light. But then when you talk about like certain succulents, those are influenced by the amount of light you give it. So it just really depends on what plants you have, and just really doing that research is really going to help with your plant care. I like to give those insights. And then over here we have some cuddly cactus, some more mixed succulents right here. It looks like they have actually quite a bit of plants still available. I know that the other Walmart off of Custer Road in North McKinney, Texas was really bare, but you can see they still have quite a bit of succulents, like this Crassula golem. That's another plant that I would add to my collection, is a Crassula. I really think that that is a super cool looking plant. And then we also have a bunch of cordyline plants, cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. Now these have been in these containers for quite a bit all season long, and I hope that somebody may end up buying it, or if the actual plant vendor would just clearance these out, because I feel like these plants are still salvageable. Like we have one plant, a Dracaena marginata, for instance, $4, but I really think that they should just make them half off, like make them $2 or less. There would just be a chance for it. You know, I've talked about this a lot in my big box plant shopping videos. I feel like the amount of plant waste that is created because a lot of these plants just don't end up getting sold. And from the big box store, it's not really a big deal for them because these plants are typically scam based. So unless the big box store sells it, that's the only way they make money. And so like if they die, they don't really lose money because a lot of these plants are not bought from the actual grower. That just goes back to show that, you know, there is a lot of waste that is created from houseplants. You know, I was doing a couple of research and then also just looking at videos, and the amount of plastic that's thrown away, the amount of cocoa peat, just a lot of the resources that are put into these plants. And that's the reason why I feel like maybe I'm going on a tangent a little bit, and that's probably the reason why I like making these big box store plant shopping videos, is because I feel like I can talk about my plant insights. But I think growers should pull away from using plastic containers and finding more sustainable biodegradable sources. So in case the plant does have to get composted or thrown in the trash, they actually decompose and it doesn't create a big carbon footprint. But you know, that is a whole discussion for another video. I did just want to show you, like, if you see plant folies, there are quite a bit of plants, lots of large Dieffenbachia, and I have grown to like Dieffenbachia. I may end up trying to grow them in my my indoor space. We'll see what that looks like. I do have two Dieffenbachia, a Dieffenbachia Cool Beauty that's living outside and it's living its best life. But you can see right here, we've got a beautiful, highly variegated Dieffenbachia maculata, and right next to just a Dracaena. Again, these are all for $19.84. Right next to it, is a Majesty Palm, but that Dracaena right there, even though it is a large foliage plant, very tolerant of lower light conditions. And then we're going to walk over here and take a look at some of these beautiful yucca cane plants, as well as a Dracaena Massangiana on the right. So lots of cane plants. I find that really interesting, and it's just nice to see that there are quite a bit of plants still available at Walmart. So maybe there might be some other Walmarts that I can venture into in the North Dallas area to see if they have more plants. Now we're gonna go into the indoor section. So you can see right here, this one is a blooming anthurium, and I love blooming anthuriums. Not necessarily for the blooms. I mean, I think it's got a nice pop of color, but I just love that waxy, beautiful green foliage and the leaf shape of it. And then over here, this is another one that has become very common. This is a Monstera Peru. This is for $19.84 in a self-watering planter. Again, a Trending Tropicals Costa Farm plant. Now, I have to say thank you to Costa Farms, because Costa Farms has really made an effort to really get these exotic tropical houseplants available for just the everyday plant lover like myself. I mean, you can see right here, Dieffenbachia again. You know, care just for Dieffenbachia, if you're going to grow them, at least in the western part of the world, make sure that you give it bright light. Make sure that you keep up with your pest preventative, like spraying it with neem oil, because it is susceptible to spider mites. It is not pet friendly in terms of it being a non-toxic plant, so you just have to be aware of that. Geonanthus plant, or geoplant, what a weird looking plant. I don't really know a lot about it. It doesn't even look like a real plant. It looks very much like a plastic plant, but what a nice dark foliage plant. And you know, speaking of dark foliage plants, I love Alocasia cuprea. I think there is a certain I don't know, fragile look about it, but it's also just a really interesting looking plant. I love the texture. I just feel like this alocasia is just not going to do well in my care at the moment. What I found is when you grow alocasia, if you grow them outdoors in a shaded area that gets like morning sun, they thrive outdoors. They're just a plant that doesn't do as well indoors. Now over here, philodendron ring of fire. I've gotten so many philodendron ring of fires at Walmart, and I did not pay $17.47. I usually wait for them to go clearance out at $7. And what I've been doing is planting several in a container with a moss post to get more of a full plant because it does like to climb. And then we also have a Sansevieria trifasciata. This one, I don't know the particular variety, but that is another easy to care for plant. And then we have another alocasia here. I find this alocasia really interesting, not only because of the leaf shape and color texture, but also the stems. The stems have like some speckling on it. Now, I don't know exactly what this alocasia is. I went bonkers and crazy for these alocasias, but mine have all gone to plant heaven. So I'm a little embarrassed, but you know, I think if a alocasia dies back, I think it can regrow back from a corm. So I'm just letting it dry out completely, and I'm going to see about taking it outdoors, seeing if it will regrow again. So we'll see. Now, this is another alocasia cuprea again. I'm just really curious, plant foldies, are you a fan of alocasia? I know that the it plant this year has been variegated alocasia, and what's interesting is variegated alocasia, when I went to PlantCon in Houston, which I will be going to Dallas, I'm really excited about that. Variegated alocasias were still quite expensive, so I'm going to see if they've reduced their prices further down this August 31st when I go to PlantCon. You can see right here another alocasia ninja. They look very similar to the alocasia black velvet. Either way, beautiful velvet leaves, and that goes to show again, plant foldies, how some plants, you just have a very similar look to it, so you just have to really be mindful on the plant IDs. But you can see here we do have a teddy bear vine, very common plant. It does look like a Tradescanthia, which is fuzzy leaves. This is a plant though that will easily be leggy, so you want to make sure that you're trimming it back to promote more growth. It's easy to propagate as well, and you know, those are things that attract me to certain plants, is just being able to propagate them. Really like the look of that plant. And then we have another Geonanthus plant, or a geo plant. This one looks really cool. It almost is tempting to purchase this plant, but the thing is, I don't really know anything about this plant, so I would have to do a little bit more research to just figure out if I'll be able to provide a close environment to how it naturally grows in the wild. And then we have another alocasia black velvet right over here. So to put it bluntly, this Walmart actually has sustained a lot of its plants. The only critique I would say about this is that the plants are literally jumbled up. I wish they would have just kind of arranged them to be where they were just a little bit more merchandised in a more organized fashion. But you know, it is a big box store, and that's not always the priority. I think the priority is to sell as much, but that would just have been a little nice touch to it. See this sago palm? Look at how the new sago palm growth has just really exploded. I'm noticing that a lot of all of the sago palms that are at Walmart, it looks like they had smaller leaves, and then all of the new ones are just really sizing up. So that's cool. And then over here, Pachira aquatica. This one is for, I believe, $14.97. Now, I am looking for a variegated Pachira aquatica. In the Philippines, when I went on vacation, they had huge Pachira aquaticas. It was almost like a common plant, but you know, a variegated Pachira aquatica is hard to come by, especially to try to find one that is under $100. So we'll see what that looks like at PlantCon. And again, plant foldies, if you are going to PlantCon, please make sure to send me a direct message on Instagram. That way we can coordinate where we can meet up, as well as if you are going and you don't have Instagram. Although I would say at this point, if you're a plant foldie, create an Instagram. It's super easy. That is one way to really get all of the latest updates of this channel, since I haven't created a Facebook yet. But if you are going to PlantCon 2024, August 31st, September 1st in Dallas, leave a comment in the comment section, connect with me on Instagram. I'm thinking that we can all meet up at Peta's Planters booth. So, you know, Peta's Planters is a small business that I really love supporting. Awesome plant shop. Definitely check out the videos. I have 5 now featuring the beautiful plants of Petus Planters. But since they are going to be there at PlantCon, I think that that's probably going to be a central point on where we all can meet up and link up. So we'll take a look at that. And then also Plant Foldies. I have designed a Grow Folds t-shirt. It's a simple design. I have 4 colors available for it. If you are interested, please make sure you are messaging me on Instagram or leaving a comment. I should receive the shipment by August 12th. If you are going to PlantCon, let me know if you're interested. I can bring the t-shirts for you. I will be wearing my Grow Folds t-shirt, so I will be easily found since I don't do face reveal on YouTube just yet. But yes, anyways, to go back to the plants that we're looking at, notice how all of the plants are super full. It's just really jumbled up. Now they do have all of the ZZ plants together, and I love just this common ZZ plant right here, right next to the ZZ Raven. You know, this is another plant that really thrives in neglect, and I really love it because it's a plant that I don't have to do much for it, but it's still giving me a lot of joy because it still pushes out new growth. It's just an easy plant, and you can propagate it from cutting. So I think that's really cool as well. It is a slower growing plant, but needless to say, at least it's a plant that's gonna not go to plant heaven as easily. It's a plant that, you know, it's just a beginner plant, but a plant that even for the experts, they should have. And then right over here, we have a more sago palm right here. Look at how massive that new growth is. And I just find how it just unfurls its leaves. It's just very dramatic looking. Like it's just, I don't know. The Plant Foldies let me know it's like curling up and then it's gonna like spin around. I don't know. But with the sago palm, that does need a lot of bright light to really thrive, just like most palms. And then here is another alocasia right here. Now, I will say with all of these beautiful alocasias, what I'm concerned about is say they don't sell. I would just hate for them to be thrown in the trash. I really think that the plant vendors should just go ahead and clearance out a lot of these plants. I honestly would liquidate them and buy almost all of them, if anything, to give to friends or just see if I can actually grow them. I often think about the plants that are wasted whenever we go to these big box stores. You know, that's not to say anything negative about the big box store. I think that's just the nature of the business. You know, they get so much plants, but then the interest for plants, that's not always a thing. So I'm hoping that my big box store plant shopping videos, especially for the local Plant Foldies in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, will bring out more people to purchase these plants, because even this right here, Begonia maculata, beautiful plant. I ended up getting mine for free because my grandmother actually propagated one for me. And that's another thing. If you are looking to save money on plants, it's always nice to go to a big box store, especially if you find the vendor that is clearancing out the plants, or you can go get you know, trades through cuttings or plant propagations. And I'm hoping that the Grow Folds Plant Foldie community, in the at least in the local area, may be able to create something of that nature where we can do plant swaps or just share plants. I think that would be an awesome thing. There's just a lot of ideas that I have. I mean, the fact that we're almost at 10,000 subscribers is super exciting. I'm still shocked that you guys will continue to watch my plant shopping videos. I know that a lot of my format is pretty similar to each video, but if you like listening to me talk, if you like my plant insights, if you like to chat, if you feel like this is relaxing for you, I definitely welcome it. I do have several playlists, so if you go to the YouTube channel, you can check it out. And I have been promoting some of my older content, which would be origami. So like I was telling in my previous video, the reason why I call my viewers and subscribers Plant Foldies is because this channel used to be an origami ASMR channel where I would just fold origami paper cranes. You know, my goal is to fold 1 million paper cranes in my lifetime. I have been folding paper cranes daily for the last 7 years, so you can only imagine how many paper cranes I have. I can fold an origami paper crane in under a minute, and so it's just something that is another quirky hobby of mine that maybe a lot of you guys don't know, alongside with my plants. But this is not a bad looking selection for plants. I think that there's quite a bit of plants that are salvageable. There's still quite a bit of plants that you can purchase. Like here is another Epipremnum aureum global green pothos. This is an example of another plant that you need to give a lot of bright light in order for the variegation to really show through, because the variegation is influenced by the amount of light you provide it. And then next to it, they have some Dracaena. We have another beautiful Monstera Peru. And can I say that Monstera Perugis has some really nice looking texture on the leaves. Now, I do love the green version, and I'm thankful that a plant foldie by the name of Gloria was able to get me one for free. I am looking for a variegated version. I think that that would be super cool. Although I said the variegated version may not be as stable in variegation, and that's the thing about variegated plants, plant foldies, is it is some plants variegation is not stable, so you have to really work at making sure to maintain it either through providing more light or trimming it back when it starts to get more green foliage. But as you can see here, anthuriums, I have a lot of my anthuriums growing in hydroponics, and that's basically growing the plant in just straight water, no soil substrate or anything of that nature. Beautiful plant. I love it. I'm looking for a variegated anthurium, flowering bloom anthurium. That one is called the Shibori. It's like over $100 though on eBay, so I'll have to like hold off on that. But what do you guys think so far about this big box store? I will be going to another location after this one right here just to see what plants we have available. But for the most part, this isn't a bad Walmart, so I would definitely recommend checking this out. There are some nice alocasias I would pick up. I would probably pick up some more of those anthuriums as well, and even the sago palm isn't a bad deal. I might end up getting that, but you know, winter is about to come, and I say that just because summer and then fall, it's just super quick, so you have to figure out how many plants you can put indoors or over winter. So we'll see what that looks like. With my birthday coming up on August 7th, which is next Wednesday, I do have my plant party festivities happening this weekend. I'll be going out to get some sushi, so it'll be nice to relax. I may do some plant chores, really get my plant room together on Sunday, but we will see. You know, I turned 42 this year. I'm so thankful for my health, and what I'm really thankful about is just being able to show you guys all of these big box store plants and just really connecting with you guys. I say that all the time, but I do mean it when it comes down to just the community we have here. And now we are going to a local nursery, and we're going to go plant shopping here. This is a Calloway's nursery off of Highway 121 in McKinney, Texas. It's right off of Custer Road. You know, as always, if you haven't already hit the like button and it's the middle of this video, please hit the like button. I would really love to get that engagement. It definitely helps the channel out, and it pushes this content out to more people. But as you can see, beautiful day. I love going to Calloway's Nursery. Calloway's Nursery is a chain of nurseries all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's so many locations, and I will say almost all Calloway's nurseries have such a good selection. So when you talk about big box store plants, a lot of big box store plants are starting to liquidate or just downsize their plant collection. I will say at Calloway's, you still will see quite a bit of plants. So that's the thing. You can lean onto your local plant nurseries. I mean, you can see here, there is a beautiful planter. This one is a variegated potato vine, and this one is another plant that's super vigorous, easy to propagate through water, and it can take full sun. Beautiful water fixture right here. I do like the sound of water. It's super relaxing, and it's another water fixture that I wish I could add into my collection. But anyways, plant foldies, we're gonna walk over here. It looks like they have a lot of super savings weekly specials right over here. So if you're looking for some plant sales, I would say shop for plants in the summertime, because I feel like the peak time to buy plants was actually in spring or mid-spring. But now that summer has hit, you know, some of the vegetables aren't really, you know, have already passed their prime, and then just the amount of plants that have already been sold through. But massive local plant nursery. I love this nursery. I feature this nursery quite often, especially this location. You can see that it's got such a tranquil environment over here, and they just have a lot of plants. Like, I'm going to take a look at this one right here. For instance, this is a Cellum plant, and this one is $24.99. This is a plant that was so commonly found in the Philippines. Massive plant, and that's another plant that I feel like is underrated. I definitely don't have that plant, but it is a cool looking plant. It does get very large. And then over here we have another Dracaena. We've got some really cool planters here. So not only does Callaway's have like a great selection of plants, planters galore is what they have as well. Ficus Ali right here. And then over here we have some more bromeliads, and you know, we talk about bromeliads. I love the striking colors that they have here. There's just so many varieties to pick from, and That's another plant that I definitely love to take a look at. I may add more to my collection. And then we over here we have a philodendron lemon lime. Now this one is growing on a totem pole. Love neon plants. I think they're amazing. I think you know, this is an easy to care for plant, one that you can get leggy, so you might have to like cut it back, but it's easy to propagate in water. And then over here is a Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue. This one needs to grow on a totem pole to get the leaves to size up. It's $129.99. That is slightly pricey for me. The thing I've discovered about Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue is if you don't give it enough light, it will shoot out more runners versus foliage. And then also it's not as drought tolerant, so you have to keep the soil a little bit more moist than a typical Epipremnum. And then over here, tons of palms. You can never, you know, have a shortage of palms. For some reason, palms are just everywhere. I don't know if there's a lot of people who honestly grow palms in the houseplant collection. And I talked about planters here. You can see they have several different planters here. Now the thing about it is I do like the shape of the planters. I just wish they weren't glazed, like shiny glaze. I prefer more of like this right here, maybe a matte finish or a metallic finish. Either way, there's a lot of these planters. Those are called catch pots, so you can put a plant in there because I don't think it has a drainage hole. You want to keep the plant in its natural, like, or the actual what is it, nursery pot that it's in. And then over here we have a philodendron red imperial, which looks very similar to a philodendron rojo Congo. Part of me thinks that it's the same plant, but just a different name. But again, beautiful plant, very massive size. And then we have a bunch of just Schefflera here. Look at how large these Scheffleras here. And just to let you know, Scheffleras can become full-grown trees that can be up to 20 to 30 feet tall. I've seen them in the Philippines. Very easy to care for plant. I saw the variegated varieties. They were just so common. They almost grew like weeds in the Philippines. But even this green variety is nice. Another plant I would recommend. And then over here we have another beautiful Dieffenbachia of some sort. I don't know the specific Dieffenbachia plant ID, but with Dieffenbachia, if you're able to grow them outdoors, they do best outdoors, at least in the western part of the world, like the United States. Calatheas, not a fan of the Calatheas, especially the more velvety textured ones, because they're just really finicky. Now, philodendron red imperial, another philodendron that gets really large. So if you have the space for it, this one is for only $29.99. That is not a bad price at all. That's another philodendron I would recommend. And then over here, we have a Ficus benjamina. This one's for $99, and this is a braided form. So it looks like several Ficus benjamina have been just kind of braided in together. They've fused and have become a full-blown tree. So some people will call this Ficus benjamina like an indoor tropical tree. The thing about Ficus benjamina is it does require quite a bit of light. Otherwise, it will shed its leaves, and it's just not a fun plant when it's not happy. It will definitely let you know when it is not happy because it will shed its leaves. Now, even higher humidity levels for this plant will do well, but it is a plant that's fairly vigorous. I like it. I just don't have the lighting conditions to provide in my home to really let it to grow, you know, to let it thrive. And that's the thing. Lighting conditions, plant foldies is a huge must whenever you're going to grow plants indoors. That is the reason why a lot of us will end up just getting supplementary light, like grow lights. And then over here, we've got some Sansevieria trifasciata again. Love the Sansevieria trifasciata. I think it's another plant that, you know, is always marketed as a very low light tolerant plant. But truthfully, it is a plant that still needs quite a bit of light for it to really push out growth. Just because a plant is low light tolerant doesn't mean that the plant will actually grow and thrive. It means it will just basically survive. So we always want to have that happy medium of providing bright indirect light when it comes to all plants. I feel like that's the perfect habitat it can live in. It's a happy medium. Over here we have a Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf tree. Again, this was just so awesome to see in the Philippines how large these get. Literally 20 to 30 feet trees of Ficus lyrata, and it was growing in full sun. That goes to show that these are tropical plants that really require that tropical environment. So the closer we can emulate the natural climate and environment, the better your plants are going to grow. And I think that that's just can be said about any plant. So, you know, the whole concept of plant care is basically plant care is equivalent to how close we can emulate the natural environment of a plant. But you can see here, this one is for $199. This Ficus lyrata tree, and you can see there's a tiny little growth one right over there. That's interesting that it's growing from the bottom of that trunk. So that's just another growth point. And then you can see here another Ficus benjamina. Love the plant. I love the lighting of this nursery. You can see that these plants are getting quite a bit of light, and that's the reason why Callaway's nursery, when you compare it to like a big box store, they are a little bit more pricey on some of their plants, but the health of the plant is definitely going to be a little bit more guaranteed to be healthy versus a big box store. And that's because you have people who will constantly take care of these plants. They check for pests, they water them regularly, they give them all the requirements that they need in order for them to thrive. Like this right here, Chiflera amate, beautiful Chiflera. If I'm gonna get the Chiflera amate, I'm gonna get the variegate variety. Like, look at how massive the trees are. I mean, not the trees, but the plants are, like the leaves. Really love the look of that as well. And that's another plant, easy to care for, and you can see that it can get pretty big. So that's the thing about plants as well, plant foldies, is when you buy that starter plant, know that that plant will eventually grow into a big tree, a big plant. So you have to pre-plan what space you have for these plants. You know, it's easy for us to like look at plants and be like, okay, this 3-inch plant starter, I'm gonna just put that and buy a bunch of it, but then don't realize that eventually, you know, within a year or two, they will size up if you give it the right care tips. I'm just loving all the plants they have at Callaway's nursery. You can see that even in, you know, summertime, we still have quite a bit of plants. Like, I'm gonna walk over here and show you beautiful croton plant. And I love croton plants. I just know that in my current conditions, I wouldn't be able to grow them effectively. Now in the Philippines, full-blown trees, they just grew like weeds. And this one though is only for $49.99, and it looks like it's already starting to grow as like a tree form. Beautiful colors. I just love all the different varieties of croton plants, and that's something I may visit at some point again. Here's another Ficus elastica burgundy, and this one is for $19.99. This one is in a 6-inch planter. Really like that as well. And you know, with Ficus elastica burgundy, it's probably one of the easier Ficus rubber tree plants to grow. Now these again can max out at 20 to 30 feet as full-blown trees. I saw those in the Philippines, and just really interesting how we have smaller starter juvenile plants in the western part of the world. And then over here, we've seen a lot of croton plants, and this one has a really interesting like thread-like leaf. This one is for $16.99. This is called the Croton Picasso. Beautiful plant. With croton plants, they need to be in full sun or have quite a bit of light in order for them to grow. They need to have consistent watering as well. Like, you don't want to overwater it, but at the same time, you want to make sure that it gets watered as soon as the soil dries out, and stay consistent with that. This is actually another croton that I have. It's still growing outdoors, but the thing about crotons is when it is not happy, it will definitely drop its leaves. It does not do well with colder climates. So especially when it comes to winter, or if there's a cold front, it will definitely drop its leaves. It is a plant I would recommend growing outdoors. I don't think it's a plant that you can really grow indoors sustainably unless it is growing literally under a grow light. Now this one right here is another croton I typically don't see. This one is some type of croton hybrid, $16.99, but I love the leaf shape of it. Again, you know, crotons, there's just so many different varieties of crotons you can choose and pick from. And the color is actually influenced by the amount of light you're providing it. So the more light you provide the croton, the better the croton will grow and the better coloration it will get. I love crotons that actually get those dark black leaves, almost black leaves, or crotons that get a lot of yellow or a lot of red. There's just so many varieties, and I just absolutely love it. And it's another plant that is just, you know, common, but at the same time, a little bit more challenging to grow. This one is another croton, $16.99. This one, I believe, could be the croton gold dust. Notice how the crotons have different leaf shapes, textures, colors. Like, literally, it looks like somebody just splattered a bunch of yellow paint on it. Beautiful plant as well. And it's another plant that I just really want to be able to grow sustainably and just something that I can add to my collection. But I just know that for me to do that, I would have to have the space, the lighting, and just the time to invest. And right now, with things being so busy, I'm gonna have to just hold off on that. Although I was tempted to purchase like 3 crotons at this Calloway today as I filmed this video. And then this is the most common croton, and this is the croton petra. Love the croton petra. Again, it is another plant that, depending on your lighting conditions, it can give you some really cool colors. Now, when these crotons actually mature into full-grown trees, they do have blooms. So I always find that interesting. The only croton tree I've ever seen in the United States would be at Archie's Greenland Nursery out in Fort Worth, Texas. They actually had a huge croton tree there, and I thought it was stunning. But when you go to the Philippines, if you haven't seen my videos, you will see how massive they can grow. But love the fact that this Calloway's Nursery has quite a bit of crotons, and then they have smaller varieties. So these ones are also croton petras for $6.99. So if you don't want to spend $16.99, you can get a 4-inch starter planter. And that's the thing, I would say, plant foldies, if you are on a plant budget, sometimes it's okay to just buy a smaller plant and then just wait for it to grow. Like this one right here, this one is also for $6.99. Like if you want a croton Picasso, like I would probably go with this variety and just wait for it to grow versus the croton Picasso for $16.99. Again, plant foldies, Callaway's does do sales, and I'm curious to see if they will actually put these crotons on sales. I've seen that happen before last year, and that's the reason why, if you're gonna ask me a local plant nursery chain in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where I would buy my plants, I definitely would purchase them at Callaway's. You know, the staff is super friendly. They always have a high diversity of plants to pick from. They have a good return policy. They have got a good rewards program, and they're just easily accessible. You can literally go to a Callaway's nursery. They're really close in proximity as well. Over here we have a Hoya Quintiata. These are for $9.99, and these are by Proven Winners, and I love Proven Winners Hoyas. They have quite a bit of hybrids and just Hoyas in general. $9.99 for a Hoya Quintiana, or what you call a variegated Wyetii. Really cool. I love that has some pink variegation as well. So if you sun stress it or give it more light, you'll get more of the pinks out of that Hoya Quintiana. I haven't gotten fully into Hoyas. I am probably gonna go crazy and buy a bunch of Hoyas at plant cons. It just really depends. What I like about Hoyas is obviously the potential of getting those fragrant blooms, but what really draws me to them is how easy they are, how forgiving they are. Like, I didn't water a Hoya for an entire month, and it bounced back after watering it, and within 24 to 48 hours it was like nothing had ever happened to it. And those are really the plants I need, the plants that can tolerate more drought-like conditions, because I am not as consistent to watering. And full transparency, sometimes I feel like it gets a little overwhelming to have to take care of plants, but I've gotten better. But Hoya, that's definitely a plus because they're drought tolerant. Like this one right here, cool hanging basket of Hoya Wyetii. I believe this is for $29.99. So that's a nice full basket. It's super full actually for a Hoya. And the thing about Hoya is some people will say they are slower growing. Some Hoyas are actually a little bit more vigorous than others. Either way, I am not a Hoya expert, but what I do know is there are quite a bit of plant foldies that like Hoya. So I like to try and feature as many Hoyas whenever I see them. Like right over here, Hoya publicaix crossed with Splash. Really like that as well. Look at how beautiful that is. It is on a trellis, and this one tends to want to find friends to cling on to. You can see that it's pushing out a lot of these runners, which eventually get some foliage. This one's for $29.99. I love the look of that as well. Then we also have a Hoya macrophylla for $19.99. This one is pretty cool. I think it's a little bit pricey. So if I were to like recommend a place that you can buy Hoyas for more cost-effective pricing, at least in the local Dallas-Fort Worth area, definitely go to Peta's Planters. They have some rare and uncommon Hoyas, common Hoyas, and they're very priced at a competitive price. So just check that out. Or you can still buy them at Calloway. So you just have to really compare and contrast what the plants look like. Like right here, we have a Hoya Carey variegated form for $9.99. That's super cute. I found one at Kroger though for $7.99, and it was in a 4-inch planter. So grocery stores are another place you can go to see if you can find some plants on sale. This one is another Hoya Crimson Queen. This one is for $19.99. Really nice looking, or actually not 29.99. Beautiful variegation. I love that white cream variegation. And again, if you give this a lot of light, it will sun stress and push out some more of like the pinkish color. And then over here we have another Hoya Quintiana right here. This one is for $29.99 in a 6-inch container. But as you can see here, you could buy this for $29.99, or you could buy the Proven Winners one for $9.99 in a 4-inch planter. So there's only a 2-inch difference. And Hoyas, again, they grow pretty fast. They're easy to propagate. You can take cuttings and root them in water. This one right here is just another Hoya Carnosa for $29.99, just a green form. Now, care tips for Hoyas: bright light is a must. If you can provide it with humidity, it's a plus. And it does take quite a bit of time for them to bloom, but they will eventually bloom. So I'm just really excited to see when mine will bloom. We'll see. And then over here is another Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess. Really like the look of that for $29.99. Now these Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess, I would recommend just buying at like a big box store, because you can get them at Home Depot, for instance, for like $14.98 by Vigoro. So that's why I love doing plant shopping videos, showing you a mixture of big box store plants, local plant nursery plants. So that way you can compare and contrast what the plant's market price is. You can see right here, Ficus elastica Chloe for $24.99. This is a Proven Winners plant. And the thing about Ficus elastica Chloe, I like it because it is more of a green form rubber tree, but it has like rounder leaves. And then Ficus Shivriana here, this is for $29.99. So you can buy this though at Trader Joe's for a larger size, only for like $12.99. So if you are a local plant foldie that lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on, so that way you can be up to date with the plant pricing, what plants are actually entering the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Because again, if you notice, I am literally in a big box store or some local nursery on a daily basis, so you will get the first dibs on what plants are coming out there. Now, I was at a Kroger grocery store the other day. I wasn't able to film, but they actually had some philodendron verrucosums there. So that will be something I will try to film for y'all. But you can see here, Ficus chandelier, like this as well. It kind of looks like mangrove trees. So if you did see my Philippine videos, you'll see that mangrove trees look like ficus plants. And then you can see right here, Ficus elastica ruby. Now, to keep the reddish tone or the pinkish tone on it, you want to provide it with quite a bit of light for it to really hold on to that. But ficus plants, beautiful plants, easy to care for plants, easy to propagate as well from rooted cuttings. You can just cut them and then put them in water and they will root pretty easily. That is why some of the plants I tend to gravitate to, because of the potential of being able to root them. They're just it's just a fun process, and I love being able to, let's just say, I like to multiply my plants. I know at one point last year or the year before, when I actually had a bunch of plants, I had like a whole room of just pothos propagations, just jars and jars of cuttings. So yeah, I went overboard. Now, Ficus Am Still King, this one looks similar to the Ficus Ali. It's another cool looking ficus because of the texture. And then we also have a Ficus Lyrata right over here. Really like Ficus Lyrata. You know, some people will say it's a finicky plant. I did find mine for 99 cents at Sprouts grocery store, and it's doing pretty well. It's right next to an east-facing window. It is one of those plants that you just want to make sure you stay consistent with. I have fertilized it, and it's starting to get a little bit more vigor in terms of its just growth habit, so we'll see. Umbrella plant or Schefflera here. That one's another starter plant. Love that. It's another plant that I would recommend. And then we have some more Ficus Lyrata over here, or fiddle fig leaf trees. Really like that. This one's for $19.99. This isn't an easy to find plant. I wouldn't say it's an easy to care plant. It's one of those plants that really does require a little bit more investment in terms of just a consistency on lighting. If you're able to grow this outdoors though, it'll do better in an area where you get a lot of bright indirect light. Though in the tropical countries like the Philippines, those grow out in full sun. Same thing with any of the ficus plants that I'm showing you, like the Ficus elastica burgundy. The fact that I was able to see one grow up to 20 to 30 feet tall was just stunning. Like, I was just thinking, how many cuttings could you take from that tree to propagate from? And then over here, Epipremnum pinnatum neon. So I thought this was really cool because this is another Epipremnum pinnatum that you don't see often. I'm glad that it's actually more available even at a local nursery. But notice how the new growth comes out more neon. This one's for $169.99 on a totem. This is a plant that is also endemic to my home country, the Philippines. These pretty much grow like weeds, but this one is more of a mutated form with the neon, because you can see that the new growth comes out very light pale yellow, and then eventually hardens to become more of a green leaf. The leaves get larger as it attaches to a pole. You can see right here, look at how beautiful that is. And if it is allowed to really grow up a totem pole, moss pole, or a tree like its natural habitat, the leaves will get large and start to fenestrate and split. Like you will see leaves as big as like 2 to 3 feet in length. So really interesting to see that they have them in totems. I think that that's probably the best way to grow them. And then over here for $89.99, this is a golden pothos totem, another beautiful pothos plant that I would recommend for anybody. And then I like growing pothos plants on totems. I think the best type of plant to grow on a totem as far as a pothos would be a Manjula pothos. Can you imagine like how beautiful that variegation is? And then you can just see here as I turn around, we still have a couple more plants to take a look at. Super full, and I love it so much that I am able to go back to this nursery. Now, as I walk over here, plant foliage, you can see we have some bromeliads. These are the Guzmania bromeliad. So now I know what this particular bromeliad is. This one is for $19.99. Really like the look of that as well. Just the blooms. I wouldn't say this is my favorite bromeliad. I like the other bromeliads. They're a little bit more flashy in their color. And you can see this massive Montserrat constellation. That one has been there for a while. I believe that's one like $499. And then we have a mixture of different types of Bromelia Guzmania. That one is for $29.99. So there's 3 different types of colors in that one. And you can see there is a little bit of browning on some Montserrat constellation. That's actually normal because variegated plants, they tend to eventually brown up. That variegation doesn't always last. Although I will say if you use this one watering solution called Protect, which is a silica based plant nutrient, it could actually help maintain some of that variegation. You can buy that on Amazon. And then over here, Dracaena Janicrae compacta. You already know the story. Very easy to care for plant. It's a plant I would recommend everybody getting. And then over here, everybody's favorite. This is the Hydra Helix, or the Hedera Helix. This is an English ivy. This one is for $29.99 in a 6-inch planter. Hedera Helix, that is just a whole spectrum of commentary I would have. I would say grow the Hedera Helix outdoors and you will be fine. Growing them indoors, you're just asking for spider mites. But we'll see. Also, we have Dracaena Lemon Surprise right over here. These are super cute for, I believe, $16.99 in a 6-inch planter. Super easy plant. This actually can get very large as well. It can get up to 3 to 4 feet in height. So it's just a slower growing plant. It is a beautiful plant. Love that neon green variegation. And it's another common plant you will find at a big box store. And as I pan away here, look at how gorgeous all of these plants are, like plant foldies. Just being able to film and just look at plants is so therapeutic for me. I don't know if you feel the same way about just watching my videos. Please leave that in the comments, because you can see here Philodendron Goldii as well. Beautiful plant, $19.99. This is another plant that's an interesting philodendron. Don't know a lot about it, but I do like the fact that Calloway's Nursery has really brought in a lot of philodendrons, and it looks like somebody may have changed their mind on this beautiful Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, $16.99, but it is already trailing, so you can literally chop this up and get a lot of free plants. And I am all about plant propagation and getting free plants. I did want to ask our plant foldies watching this video, if you can leave this in the comments, what is your favorite plant that I've featured so far in a lot of my big box or plant shopping videos? What else would you like to see in my content? I just want to see what I can also do to actually cater to some of y'all's interests. So please make sure you're leaving that in the comment section for me. You can see here though, silver amidrium. So notice how the silver amidrium does shoot more runners when it doesn't have something to attach on. This is a plant that is a little bit more uncommon. It's a plant that I want to put in my collection because I do like the silver foliage, but it is a plant that definitely requires quite a bit of light, otherwise it'll shoot runners, and it also needs to climb. That's really how you can get more foliage, otherwise it will just shoot runners. It's very similar to the Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue actually, and it's interesting because they have this similar color. And then Philodendron Burley Marks, this one is for $99 in a 6-inch planter, and this used to be a very expensive plant. I do like the variegation of it, but it is such an unstable variegated plant. Like, it can easily revert to green, so you have to really stay on top of chopping it up. But when it does have some of that stable variegation, it is a stunner. I have one that is literally rehabbing, that I've had for a couple years. It's growing in leca and it's finally starting to push out some new growth. It's mostly green, however, so I'm a little bit sad that it is reverting. So I don't know, I might chop it up and see if it'll push out some variegation. And then you can see here we've got a Monstera Thai Constellation. I believe this one is $89.99. So I think that these plants are a little bit overpriced, to be honest, at Calloway's, because you can buy these plants now at Costa Farms, Trendy Tropicals, or just even Kroger had them for like $29.99. You can find them also at H-E-B, which is another local grocery store in Texas, for like that same price range. But again, if you want to splurge on a Monstera Thai Constellation at Callaway's, you can at least find these. I just like the fact that these plants are more readily available. They used to be so expensive, but you know, fast forward to 2024 and you can find them at a local nursery and big box store. So super exciting to see that. And I'm just going to pan over here and show you how massive these leaves can get eventually. And then right next to it, we have a bunch of Monstera adansonii. These are for $14.99. I do like this Monstera adansonii because it does have the wide form leaf and it looks like it would be ready to attach to a pole. I do like that a lot, and it's quite interesting as well. So we'll see what that all looks like. Super excited that we do have these. I may eventually buy them, you know, Monstera adansonii. Truthfully, I have not been able to grow these successfully long term. It is a plant I have struggled with for some reason to grow them long term. I do have a variegated Monstera adansonii tricolor Japanese form that I got from Fitzgerald's Tropicals. Super excited. They gave that as a present to me, and I'm super thankful because the variegation is stunning. Now we have a Peperomia Ginny for $16.99. Beautiful Peperomia. I did not water it for an entire month, and that's the reason why that Peperomia Ginny ended up going to Plant Heaven. There's only a certain threshold, and you know, you would think that this is more of a succulent type. Yeah, I made a little mistake and just did not water it. You know, I forgot about the plant, and you know, that's the thing about having a lot of plants in your plant collection. Some of them get neglected. So downsizing my plant collection has really helped out in terms of just, you know, the stresses of actually growing plants. Like, I don't know if you can really relate to me, plant foldies, about having to feel like it's more of a chore versus a hobby versus like a relaxation thing. So that's the reason why I always say, for plants, when a plant is not bringing you joy, you can either give it away, compost it, and don't feel guilty about it, because at the end of the day, it is all about what plants bring you joy. If it becomes more of a chore, I would recommend not adding any more plants until you can stabilize your indoor section. But as far as the plants we have here, just look at how full this is. Like Calloway's Nursery, I love it a lot. I mean, plant foldies, if you haven't gotten a chance to leave some comments, please definitely do. Please hit the like button, because look at this. Even in the summertime, we can see beautiful polka dot plants. This one is in a 6-inch planter for $9.99, and that is actually a really good price for it. Love the pink on it. I just haven't been able to grow this plant long-term successfully as well. I just have to do a little bit more research on that. And then one of my favorite philodendrons, and I do think this philodendron is underrated, Philodendron Summer Glory. This one is for $19.99. I ended up buying this Philodendron Summer Glory actually on sale for 30% off at Callaway's. Repotted it in an 8-inch planter, and it is pushing out so much new growth. I love the satin shine on the leaves. It's an easy care philodendron. It is a vigorous growing philodendron. It shoots out lots of new growth. I do think that it's one of those philodendron that need to climb, so I'll eventually have to put a moss pole. And then check this out, $49.99. You have hanging baskets of Epipremnum pinnatum neon. I think that is super cool right here. Look at that. And then there's so many cuttings you can possibly take to propagate in water. That is another easy to care for plant. I will say for the neon variety, you probably need to give it a lot of bright light. And check this out. I haven't ever seen an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos be this highly variegated. Like, I may end up just buying this just because of the variegation. Again, and in order to really get that variegation, you want to make sure you are giving that light that it needs. And then we've got an Alpina Red Rubin, $16.99. I ended up buying this plant. Somebody told me it was drought tolerant, so I neglected it, but actually it's not. I did get it for 99 cents at Sprouts, so I will just have to see if I can find that plant again. This plant fascinates me because it does have that silver foliage, and then I also love just the undersides of the leaves. I think it's super cool. And then we have it right here. This is for $400.99. This Monstera Thai Constellation. Massive plant. I have a Monstera Thai Constellation that large, but I grew it from a 2-inch, I mean, not a 2-inch, a 1-leaf, 1-node plant cutting. I paid $200 that I got about 4 years ago. So I'm super proud of that. Cryptanthus is a really cool plant too. It looks like a more colorful version of like a Sansevieria trifasciata, similar to a bromeliad as well. Love the colors, but as I pan away here, plant foldies, just a beautiful plant paradise. You know, I love big box stores, but I definitely love Calloway's Nursery. So if you ever visit the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I would highly recommend going to Calloway's Nursery. It is an easy to care for. They have easy to care for plants is what I'm saying. Lots of diversity, and their plant pricing is super cost effective as well. I don't think that their plant pricing is not fair. I think it's a pretty good value for the plants that you will find. And then you can just see right here just the amount of plants that they have, like the bromeliads, for instance. I am a fan of because they just showcase so many varieties. The other local plant nursery that has some really cool bromeliads would be North Haven Gardens, and if you haven't seen that video already, please check that out because you'll see some really unique bromeliads. And then over here we've got a Tillandsia cyanea. I don't know what that if it's actually an air plant or a bromeliad. I'm thinking it's a bromeliad, but this one's only for $6.99. Beautiful pink bloom. You already know I love pink plants. It's another plant that I would highly recommend for anybody that wants like an easy to care for plant. Bromeliads for the most part are super easy, and I just love being able to share that that passion of just having those bromeliads. It's just a really interesting plant. It was a plant that I was really throwing a lot of shade on earlier when I was doing plant shopping videos, because I would always see so many varieties or so many of them at big box stores, but I can see why. I mean, just a bright color. It's a really cool looking plant, and they're readily available, and from what I've read, they're quite easy to take care of. And so I am probably going to add those to my plant collection at some point. We'll see how that goes, but for the most part, they're a beautiful, colorful plant. Now we have an Anthurium claverinarium. I think that's how you pronounce it, in a crate. Beautiful plant. Anthuriums do scare me because they are a little bit more of a finicky plant because they require a lot of humidity, but I do find them beautiful as well. I like the veining of a lot of the leaves. There are people who really love anthuriums. I am hopefully getting a cool anthurium from Green Spaces ID. So I'm importing some plants from Indonesia. They've been sent off, so I'm just waiting any day now for them to arrive. And then I will also do a plant unboxing video. So if you've ever been curious about how to import plants, definitely check out that video. You can see here we have a bunch of bonsai shallow pots. Love bonsai. That was something in my past life where I usually just grow bonsai. And then I love this as well, flame violet. This is for $24.99 in a hanging basket. I love the fuzzy foliage on the leaves, and I'm also a fan of just the blooms. I didn't realize that plant actually bloomed. It's kind of similar in family to an African violet, and surprisingly, African violets have been quite easy for me to grow. So that's, you know, that's a plus. I do buy the starter 2-inch plugs of African violets because I noticed that African violets actually grow pretty fast and vigorous. So we'll see about that. And more zebra plants as well. This one is for $14.99. I always look at zebra plants. I pick it up and show you this during my plant shopping videos, but I've never been like so compelled to actually want to buy it. I'm not sure if there's just something about the plant that doesn't interest me enough to buy the plant. And then over here, Philodendron Hope. This one is for $16.99. Really like the shape of the leaves too. I do think that it would eventually mature to look like a Philodendron Sellum. So they're kind of similar. I'm pretty sure that they might even be the same plant. So plant folies, let me know in the comments if that's the case. And then over here we have a bunch of begonias, begonia rex. Now these are, I believe, for $16.99. And as beautiful as the foliage is, I will say with begonias, they are deceiving in a sense that they're just, Rex begonias are quite difficult, at least for me. Now you don't want to water their stems or their leaves or get them wet, otherwise they will rot away. You want to bottom water them. The problem is with these begonia rex is, I don't know if it's just the humidity levels or what it is, but for some reason they just end up not doing well for me. I've tried to grow at least 4 of them this year and all of them have made it to plant heaven. I do like the dark foliage plants. I do think that if you are looking for begonias, there is a local plant nursery called Steve's Leaves, which is located out in Lewisville, Texas. That's about a 20-minute drive from where I'm based at. And they're probably one of the premier begonia breeders, and they definitely ship nationwide. So definitely check that out. But with begonias, Rex begonias, I don't know if they just do better in containers outdoors in a shaded area. But for me, they just haven't done well. I might have to just do a little bit more research because I do find their foliage stunning. And then over here, we've got an Australian fern for $16.99. I do think the Australian fern is a super cool looking fern. That would be another plant I would consider putting in my collection, but being aware of just what my current lifestyle is, I think that's another plant that requires quite a bit of water. I may not be able to invest in that. And then these are the 2-inch starter plugs that I talked about that I purchased. These are for $6.99, but give it about 4 to 5 months and it'll double in size. I love African violets. My grandmother grew a bunch of them. I am more so about the variegated form, because if you buy the variegated form of an African violet, when the blooms are gone, there's still that foliage or leaf interest, and that could also be said about like a Phalaenopsis orchid. And then over here, really cool looking Fittonia hybrid. This one is Broadcast by Proven Winners. Really cool looking one as well. I love the light foliage on it, so it's kind of sporadic. And then we have some Calatheas right over here. This one's for $6.99. Unfortunately, all the Calatheas that I bought for $6.99 at Calloway's have made it to plant heaven. I have one that's struggling in water, so like Calatheas for me. And I don't know, plant folies, I asked this in the other videos, have you been able to grow Calatheas long term for more than a year and let them thrive? I would like to know your secrets, your comments. Let me know. Calathea Dottie, this one is for $16.99. That's actually a beautiful Calathea. I love the dark purple foliage on it. And then also this Calathea Rospicta. This one is for $16.99. I love it. It's just, I don't know, plant folies, the ones with the most beautiful foliage tend to be the more finicky plants. Let me know in the comments if you agree. And then right over here, Calathea ornata that is around here. I really love that as well. Beautiful, beautiful plant. It's another Calathea I had in the past. I've had it like 3 times and it's just died for me. But anyways, plant folies, I hope you enjoyed this big box store plant shopping video plus local nursery tour. I will have another brand new big box store plant shopping video available for you tomorrow. As always, please subscribe to my channel, leave many comments, and I will definitely see you on my live premiere tomorrow. Look for it between 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is Richie at Grow Folds.